Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. So, alright, since this is the month of October, of course, I'm gonna be discussing nothing but spooky movies, spooky stuff, just anything that's like weird related, I guess. But of course, typically it's gonna be usually running around horror movies, obviously, for concern the obvious, of course. Yay, spooky stuff, my favorite. I'll be reviewing Mark of the Werewolf, which actually was also titled as Frankenstein's Bloody Terror, but also was titled The Mark of the Werewolf with the in front of the. Okay, so there's that. That's not fucking confusing at all. So okay, but anyway, the thing is that this is a part of a series of horror films I'll be reviewing from Spain. And by the way, folks, this probably is one of the first times actually seeing one of these entries of the series in its original language, which is Spanish, which is fine by me because I understand language anyway. Anywho, of course, as always, let's talk about the plot, shall we? So here we go, I reckon. Anyway, yeah, it's good to see this young individual who is in love with this attractive woman, of course. Although she's already engaged to this individual named Ralph, a family friend whose relationship with this basically means that this is one guy who likes this one woman, and but the thing is that this one woman that he likes or is already engaged with this husband character, but this husband character has a pretty bad, I guess, pretty bad, and is in pretty bad terms with the one guy who likes her. Anyway, while this is going on, there was some other group of characters who were loading the looting, I guess you say that's the proper word, I guess, looting the tomb of a werewolf, and they removed this silver cross from him. And yes, this brings him back to life. During a hunt that is organized by these people to eliminate the wolves that are being, let's say, ravaging the surroundings of an abandoned castle. So yeah, there was this one individual gets attacked. So I'll leave it at that, folks, because it gets pretty crazy when you think about it, and that's fine, of course. And yeah, this was definitely centered around the fact that this werewolf is doing this thing. Obviously, it gets pretty wild. I just should because horror movie centering around this man who is suffering from this curse, of course, and seeks out to get rid of this doctor and his wife, who are experts of the occult. So yeah, just tackling these kind of supernatural elements in the story. So yes, things do become rather crazy as so that's fine. Yeah, this is a horror movie. Keep in mind that it's supposed to be weird anyway. But okay, so there was that coming in the story, and this is a part of a long line of series of films that has this werewolf theme. That this werewolf character will come in this entry of films in one way or another. And yes, of course, it involves curses, it involves these spells or whatever. For whatever the case is, for whatever reason, the werewolf character will get involved in the story in some kind of way. That's what I'm trying to talk about. I'm not trying to give away too much of detail, really. But anyway, point being is that this was definitely was a movie that had a lot of money put in. Well, okay, a decent amount of money put into it. It's one of those cheaply made movies, obviously, but that's fine. I tend to watch these kind of cheaply made movies anyway. But it was successful though. It made a lot of money, and that's usually the case when it comes to horror films. They're often cheaply made, like really really cheaply made, but they would have a big box office draw. So that's basically what a lot of these people would want, of course. Anyway, but yeah, that's definitely is a thing, of course. And it was definitely, like I was saying, it's part of a long line of films in a series of films. And I did review quite a few of these already and whatnot. I already did review quite a few of these, and I mean, it's out of order. I guess it's out of order. I'm just letting you know. So there's that. And a part of that is because of the fact trying to find these are incredibly hard to do. They're incredibly hard to find and whatnot. So okay, there's that. And again, yes, of course, this is definitely the Spanish version. When it comes to the other entries of this series, I typically watch them in the dubbed version. And yes, sometimes the dubbing needs some work. Obviously, it's just find out weird when it comes to foreign movies. The dubbing is usually kind of bad. But anyway, at least thankfully, I've seen this in its original language, which of course doesn't bother me because I understand Spanish anyway, so it's fine. Anyway, so yeah, this one is of course is creepy. It's eerie in its own way. It's crazy, of course, in its own way. So I'll definitely say check this out, folks. Definitely check this out. It's not too bad for what they're trying to aim for, and one it's pretty wild in its own little way. Definitely. All things considered, of course, I would say that this is definitely, of course, and FYI, folks, just to be perfect here, this has nothing to do with the Frankenstein movies that were done by Universal. It has nothing to do with that. This has absolutely zero to do with that, of course. But there's a lot of enjoyment to be had here. There's a lot of enjoyment to be had here. Uh, yeah, it's hard not to have a good time with this crazy, wild storyline with plenty of action. So yes, this is definitely something for people who like werewolves. This movie actually gives a lot of, I guess, and that kind of thing, and it's a real blast in a lot of ways. It definitely has its highlight moments, of course. So I guess it's kind of like a monster free for all kind of a thing. It does remind me of the old school Universal Monster Mashes from the 1940s. It's just a bit more graphic. It's just a bit more bloodier in its presentation. So just that, of course. And it also does remind me of the Hammer movies as well. Kind of a look to it, of course, because of the setting, because of the vibrant colors and the set pieces. The use of color gels is a nice touch to the lighting in many of the scenes, and so I like that. Another thing I would say that I did like as well is the werewolf makeup. The werewolf makeup, yes, despite the budget limitations, is actually quite good. It's very good in that way. I like the werewolf makeup in this one because the werewolf in this does appear really crazy and really wired. I like that. So definitely. The supporting cast in here is actually quite good as well. The supporting cast is not too bad either. They did what supposed to, of course. So it's definitely one of these types of movies I would definitely recommend, of course. And it's a good time, I guess. It's a definitely a good time to watch, of course. I did like what they were trying to aim for at the end of the day, so there's that. Ultimately, I can say that it's definitely something I didn't mind watching, of course. It's something I thought was going to be a solid movie, and it was. Of course, I do attempt to watch these movies in the original length, in the original way, of course, because, like I said before, it's definitely something I want to just watch in its original intent, in its full original intent. And again, I know I'm being over the head. Yes, of course, this is a very, very difficult film to find in any condition. It's one of those really difficult films to find. I'm just throwing it out there. And yes, of course, unfortunately, if you want to, if you want to find for any of the English speakers out there, if you want to find this film on a Blu-ray, yeah, the Blu-ray version might be on the Spanish version might be on a Blu-ray maybe, and but if you want an English translation version, because if you don't know the language, that's going to be definitely hard to do as well. I'm just saying, just letting you know about that. I did like the castle settings. I did like the night settings and all whatnot. The acting as a whole is actually pretty good. It's solid enough, I suppose, and whatnot. I like what they were trying to aim for. I want to say they, I mean the people who were behind this movie, of course. Not too shabby, of course, and in the grand scheme of things. This is one of those movies I've been meaning to talk about. And this movie I've been wanting to talk about. It just took a while. And yes, I mean the premise of the movie may sound like ridiculous, but it plays it straight. It plays it serious, of course. Just letting you know, it does play it pretty serious, but it's still a lot of enjoyment to watch. As I said before, the makeup effects for considered time period was actually surprisingly good. Really, there's some bloody bits and whatnot, of course. So this is the uncut version I'm talking about, folks. To be precise. And I'm fine with that because, as mentioned before, I want to watch these movies in the original way, of course. So this was definitely a solid movie. I definitely would say. I did like what they were trying to aim for in the grand scheme of things. I did like this was in a way. I did like what they were trying to aim for in the grand scheme of things because they know what they were doing. The people knew what they were. The people behind this definitely knew what they were doing, of course. Okay, and I'd definitely say it had, I guess, in a way, it helped the popularity of werewolves movies in some ways, and that's fine. Uh, but I did like it. I did like what they were trying to aim for with this story, with the characters. So it's very moody. It is very atmospheric, very eerie lit type of horror experience. Of course, very much goth setting with the whole thing with the ruined castle settings and whatnot. So I did like what they were trying to aim for in the grand scheme of things. So I would say definitely check it out, folks. Oh yeah, definitely check this out. If you have a chance, of course, if you can find a version of it, you can find it for anyone that doesn't speak English. That is, if it's possible. But anyway, I'll just give this an overall rating of a 7.1 out of 10. It's a 7.1 out of 10 for me. So of course, as always, thanks for watching. See ya.